no one wants you. This is why I do what I do to you. You're just worthless. And that was my life from the moment that my mother left to the moment that I decided to leave and take control of my own life. So I am going to light a candle so that I can channel some good energy here. This candle is Bois de Inoki, and it's from, gosh, where's this from? It's from Muji, the popular Japanese brand, which I absolutely love. Okay. I'm gonna put it actually next to me. Now that the candle is lit, I feel like I can begin. Hey guys, it's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy you're here. Today I want to talk about humans that have been abandoned, all right? But first, before we start off, oh, no! I've been painting with my niece, and look at that. Oh gosh. Anyway, before we start, can we talk about this skirt that I found? I know it's giving Glinda the Good Witch a little bit, especially with my stockings. But I love finding vintage finds, and I found this find, and I think it was like €1. So I was like, okay, I have to wear it in the video. I love, 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 and it's so cute. Okay, so I woke up today and I have been a complete human, actually. I'm not gonna judge my feelings and my emotions and the things that I've been going through lately, but as I've been sharing more and more and more about myself, I've also just been looking at my life and thinking like, wow, I'm starting this new year and there's been a couple of goals that I haven't hit. There's been targets that I've just made for myself in terms of like finances or in terms of jobs that I wanted and things, and I did not accomplish them. And I thought that I wasn't doing enough. But then today I woke up and I thought I have to do a video, because if there's one thing that I have, I may not have those goals and I may not have all the things that I want in my life, but right now I have something that is extremely important, and that's my voice. And maybe, there was a point last year where I had more things, or I had the job that I was looking for, things like that, but I didn't have my voice and I wasn't using it. Or rather, I did have my voice, but I just wasn't using it. And so today is really dedicated to using my voice and being more comfortable within myself and just being proud of the person that I am today. And today I want to share my story about being an abandoned child. And let me start off by saying that this is not a dig to anyone. This is not a dig to my family. This is not a dig to the people in my life. This is just me sharing a story that happened to me and how I've overcome it, and me sharing it with you so that maybe if you're going through the same thing, that you'll find a way to overcome it for yourself, but also just to celebrate those of us who have gone through this, and to just build a tribe of people who have gone through experiences that they have not necessarily asked for in life, which is very important for everyone to understand. I share these stories because they're just things that have happened to me in life. I literally did not ask for these things. Anyway, trigger warning before I start, in case anyone is going through this now and they feel like they are still triggered by things, they haven't found their healing yet. There's trigger warnings. And also I will link below all of the resources that have helped me be where I am today to tell my story. But my story begins when I was in my mom's womb, I would have to say. And I say that because I've done really cool therapy, and I've done awesome like EFT therapy where I've had to go back to when I was a kid, and I've just always felt like an unwanted child. And I felt even more that when my sister passed away. I just felt like, oh my gosh, we're just like these unwanted kids, and it's so unfair. But anyway, through some really awesome therapy, I've been able to go back to that time period and be a child in my mother's womb. And I have felt throughout my entire life that I was just unwanted. And that sort of feeling leaves you really unsettled, because we have this culture where we talk about the mom and we talk about the dad, and these are the core staple pieces in our lives, and these two humans are like perfect when we're kids, and we're learning from them, and they're supposed to bring us trust and safety and love, and we depend so much upon these humans. But anyway, when I think it was about 6, it could be, that my mother decided to give up custody of my sister and I. So what does that mean? That means that she took us off of, that she took her name off of our birth certificate, and she gave up custody. So now we're just children of my father. And my stepmother, I remember we had gone to the court and she had put her name on it. But I remember just being a kid and being I'm a very like happy-go-lucky child. I'm very spunky, I'm very bubbly, I'm very open, and blah, blah, blah. And I just remember not understanding what happened, because no one to this day can say like why it happened, from my dad's side nor my mom's side. But I went to the source and I asked my mom, and I will actually I'll like put it up here on the screen of YouTube so that you can read what I've actually written to my mom, or maybe I'll put it in a blog post. I'm not sure yet, but I'll figure it out. But I want you to be I want to be as real and open as possible in this situation and in this story, so that you can understand my feelings and my emotions and what I've had to work on and who I've had to become. Because it's really important to realize that every situation in this is different, but there's a core belief problem that we abandoned kids normally have. And so I had just no understanding of why this was happening to me. And granted, I'm very grateful because my grandmother on my mom's side and one of my mom's sisters and her daughter, my cousin, they always would find a way to come around. For years they did this where my sister and I would go for a weekend, or we'd spend the day with them. They'd come and pick us up. But it was so much drama and tumultuous energy between my stepmom and my mother's family that it just eventually delinquished. And it was always just a hassle. It was such a struggle. It was just absolute chaos every single time. And I also had half brothers at the time, and my stepmother was just so adamant that like they were included in this situation, and it was just really awkward as a child to have to navigate all of these feelings and emotions. But I do remember developing extreme anxiety, and one vivid dream that I always had was that I would be going up this hill in this mountain, and I would get to the top and I would hike up to the top, and that's when the anxiety was in a crescendo. And I would get up to the top and there would be a waterfall. And for some reason, I'd always fall off the waterfall, and that would be like the crescendo, oh gosh, sorry, I just had something on my thing. That would be the downfall of the dream. And I wet the bed all the time. I just wet the bed till about in my early 20s. Now, granted, I didn't wet the bed every single day, but in my younger childhood, I do remember wetting the bed at least 3 times a week. could have been for. But in my early adulthood, it wasn't that much. It would happen like once every few months if I'm in a really bad anxious state. And I definitely developed bladder issues. Like I went to the doctor, and the doctor is like, girl, what were you going through? Because you have to strengthen your bladder. So to do a lot of Kegels, and I have to do a lot of things to strengthen my bladder. But I just remember as a child, I would always try to stay up and not go to the bathroom because I never wanted to miss my mom coming. Or it'd be like, your mom's coming today. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, okay, this is so awesome. I'm so excited. And I would stay up and I would wait. And I would be so petrified, afraid to use the bathroom because I was just like, oh my God, she's gonna come and she's gonna leave and I'm not gonna be able to see her. So I had really bad anxiety as a kid and bladder issues and all this stuff. And so it doesn't happen anymore, thankfully. As I was saying, that with therapy, I've been able to really get a hold of it and like understand myself to the point where I know when, like, all right, I either need more intense therapy or maybe I need to listen to specific sort of like, I listen to a lot of meditations before I go to bed. There's a really great guy, his name is Michael Sealey. I recommend him to everybody. I will link him in this. When you have a parent who abandons you, and this is all me speaking from going to therapy and having the moment and the therapist and somebody to be able to help me understand what was happening to me, because that's the part of my childhood that I wish had gone differently, was that I wish someone would have been able to explain to me what was happening and what was going on. But I think everyone was just in their own chaos, that no one was able to do that, which is fine. But what we have to remember is that when these sorts of traumas happen to children, they often leave a really big scar because these are traumas that you've endured as a child. And so you really have to dig into trauma and understand what it is and understand the scars that it will leave. And you can heal the scar, but there will be triggers and there will be things and there will be ways of life that you learn how to just adapt back to life again. So one thing that I've done to adapt back to life is I developed a very anxious attachment to people. So there's 3 different types of attachment styles, and mine is very anxious. And so they often say where it's like you're a baby and your mom is in the room with you and they leave and you're so anxious because you have no idea where they are or when they're coming back. And then when the mom comes back, you're a complete mess because you have all these feelings and these emotions and you're just like, don't leave again, don't leave again, don't leave again. Whereas a secure attachment is like, okay, my mom left and I'm fine for a moment because I do realize that she's coming back at some point, and then she comes back and then you're happy again. And then there's also the avoidant attachment as well. But I developed the anxious attachment, and I developed a lot of anxiousness in my life. And I often go to get massages because I can always tell when my body is in a state of anxiety because I'm just like this, and my body is so used to being this that even if I'm having like an uncomfortable conversation, I immediately go like this, and my body is just like almost frozen to the point where I have to be like, oh, you probably should breathe. And then I breathe, and then I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. This is like how we calm ourselves. This is how we get ourselves back down. And so it depends on your story. It depends on what you've gone through in your life. But that abandoned child also feels a lot of unworthiness. And maybe you've had a parent abandon you, but the other parent was super supportive and, made you recognize that it's not your fault and helped you and spoke to you in a way that helped you understand that things are not your fault. It just happened of life, but it has no continuance of what it means to you. I did not have this. And so in my childhood, my stepmother was very abusive, and she also just like was always just like, it's your fault that your mom left. She left and took the money, because I was in a car accident when I was little, so my stepmother was always like, she left and took the money, like, no one wants you, this is why I do what I do to you, you're just worthless. And that was my life from the moment that my mother left to the moment that I decided to leave and take control of my own life. Because I also just knew it at a young age that like what was happening around me and what was happening in my life and in my childhood was just not okay. I'm so grateful that this was just A, my personality, but then also B, I worked in a library when I was young, like, I don't know, maybe 11, and I just read all these stories, and I just had this very vivid imagination and this very vivid childhood experience of like reading books and taking myself out and realizing that there was another world, because I was a very sheltered life. And so my stepmother was not that type of parent that was there to support me in my mom's leaving. It was quite the opposite. She was just like, she did the right thing, girl. You don't deserve anything. So in that, I've had to also learn about feeling worthy and feeling deserving of things. And so not feeling worthy and not feeling deserving was my natural like state of being. And I left home when I was 17. So let's just say from a young age to a great portion of my adolescent life, I learned that I was unworthy. And it's only until life really is the only one who can help you do it, comes and like slaps you in the face to help put this in perspective to you, to help you realize and understand that you may have had this childhood, but now as an adult, it's your responsibility to make sure that you take care of it, to make sure that you find a way to relearn new ways to think about yourself. And so when you feel unworthy as a child and when you feel unwanted, you don't have a very high self-esteem, you don't make good choices in life, you don't make choices that empower you. You always just do the wrong thing because no one's taught you that you are worthy or that you're important. And so when I look at my life and I look at my early teens, I mean, I just didn't feel like I was worth anything. And no one ever told me that I was worth anything. And no one ever made me feel like I was worthy of things. So when I look back at who I was before, I'm not a fan, but I'm also now just so proud of that girl for just making it through, because I just learned how to survive, and that was my survival skill at the moment, was just like, we're just gonna survive. But now that I'm an adult, I realize like, oh, I don't have to rely on that anymore. I can find it within myself to take the time and learn about what it is to feel worthy and how to practice it and how to develop my own self-love. And I always like to say that my sister passing was absolutely the worst thing that's ever happened to me, but also such a beautiful gift that she gave me, because I was, she was 24, then I was 27, and I was in Paris. And I will never forget getting that phone call. And I'll make this another video. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell like 5 stories in one here. But I've got a lot of stories. But, you know, she really gave me the courage and the confidence to look within myself and realize like, girl, you have to go to therapy. You have to heal these wounds. And I hate it because, you know, when I look at the coroner's report and my sister's death says that she passed away of heroin and fentanyl, I don't see a young girl who's like I just have so much empathy and compassion for her, because I don't ever feel like people who do drugs are bad people. I think that they're just trying to cope with something that has happened to them. and they're not able to have the tools to understand what to do or how to make it right. But when I look at my sister and I look at how much we had gone through in our childhood, and my heart just bleeds for this child. Because throughout our entire childhood, we've always just wanted to know, like, where was our mom? And why did she leave? And are we bad? And I love Gabor Mate. If you don't know him, he's an amazing, amazing psychologist. And he always says that children are narcissists when they're younger because they think everything is about them. And I just remember that, you know, no one knows my sister and I's relationship, and I hate it because in the end we just didn't see life the same, and we just really grew apart. And you know, I hadn't even spoken to my sister for a year before she passed away. And I just remember when we were kids and we shared the same room always, and we would always just have these deep talks. And we loved the movie The Prince of Egypt, and we just always saw ourselves as like these prisoners. And we never understood, you know, when the mother of Moses like releases him into the river so that he could have a better life, we always like told ourselves like that's probably what happened. It wasn't, but I mean, maybe it was, you know, but abandoned kids, my heart just goes out to everybody who has been abandoned. And if you're someone who has abandoned your kid, I'm sure life gave you circumstances that, you know, made you do what you had to do. And I don't judge it. And I try, and I've gone to therapy a lot. And there's moments where I'm very angry at my mother, and I'm very angry at my father and my stepmother, and I'm even angry at myself for having all these angry emotions. But you just come to understand that life is just life. But I think I've had to learn that your parents are not what society considers as a parent. And I've placed my own values upon, and I'm looking forward to being a parent actually, so that I can be such a friend to my kids and to help them understand that yes, maybe I did birth you, but you're not my object. You are your own human, and you're gonna have to go through life, and you're gonna have your own experiences and emotions, but I will always be there to help you understand who you are and who you're becoming. And I put a lot of thought into forgiveness, and you'll be able to see that when you read the letters that I write to my mother and trying to understand the situation. And I think what also made this even harder for me was that my mother actually went on to have more kids. Like she has like 3 sons. But what was really hurtful was that she told her family that like we don't exist. And she told, you know, my grandmother and my aunt and my cousin to make this scenario where my sister and I are non-existent. And that also was like another just huge trigger to be like, what is wrong with me and my sister? What did we do to these people? What is it, you know? But now I have the knowledge through therapy, through self-love, through just like circumstances of life to find it within myself, to find myself worthy, and do this work every single day, and it's work every single day to wake up and find myself worthy of things, because it's so easy for me to just wake up and be like, I'm unworthy, because that's just what I was accustomed to for so long. But I found myself able to now take on that responsibility and look at myself in the mirror every single day and choose worthiness. And it's work sometimes. It's so much letting go of anger and healing. It's a constant heal, and it will never not be there in my life. But what I've been able to do now is embrace who I am and embrace this journey, and just, I'm so okay with like death now, especially now that my sister's gone. I'm just okay with it. I'm okay with dying. I'm okay with just like leaving the earth. But what would I be if I didn't share? What would I be if I didn't? It has nothing to do with this like gloating of like, oh, I don't even think that I'm amazing. But I just know that I didn't go through all of this for nothing. And I always thought that, in my thinking that I'm unworthy, I always thought that I'm just the devil's child, and that the devil is just my dad and my mom, and I'm just nothing. But I've just found that I've gone through this, I've experienced it, I've come out on top, and I'm able to have the courage to share my story so that I can help others become better people. I can help others live their life, and I can be an example of someone who's had a rough life, whatever that is, because people have had it worse than I have. But to be able to come out on top and say that I will not be broken, and that these things will not break me. And we have the beauty of so much knowledge and technology and therapists and things that are of reach and that are free. And we have podcasts, and we have books, and we just have so many things that are right at our fingertips that we can use, that can help us be better people, that can help us understand ourselves, and that we can share with the world. And I always have a special place in my heart for abandoned kids. I always have a special place in my heart for abandoned adults. And when you've had to recreate your identity and remake yourself up and re-believe in yourself every single day, you're just the greatest gift. And we often have the biggest hearts, and we often are the most empathetic people in the world. In fact, empathy is what gets me in trouble all the time, because I'm empathetic towards everybody, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's probably because something that happened in their childhood, which is why they do what they do and think the way they do. But I do it because I want people to also sometimes look at me with that sort of compassion and think like, she probably just didn't mean it. She probably just, life probably just happened to her. So I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be well. I'm grateful to be me. And sharing my story is never easy, but who would I be if I didn't want to be the best example to my kids, and to give them a life that just to give them the life that I never had, and to just be there with them, and to know that irregardless of what happened to me, I'm grateful. And I'm actually going to use Trevor Noah here, because I love it when he speaks about I think it was his like stepdad or something that shot his mom, and he's always just like, I don't wish that happened to me. It didn't make me a better person. And I love that, because he's so right. You know, we shouldn't have to say like, this made me a better person and I'm glad that this happened. So although, no, I wish that I had a different story to tell about my life, I'm also grateful because it has made me really improve who I am, and it's really given me the opportunity to have all of this therapy, to have all of this like rebuilding of confidence and things to be able to be better, you know? So I don't know. If you've ever gone, if you're just someone who was abandoned as a kid, I just want you to know that you are so, so, so loved, and find your own space and place with like finding love from the universe or God or whatever religion. I hate using the word religion because I think how you learn how to handle and process life is so personal. I never really like to talk about religion in that aspect, even when it comes to politics, because I think religion is so personal. It's those moments where you're home alone and, maybe life isn't going your way and it's tough and you need to find the strength and the courage to overcome. I just feel like whoever or whatever is there for you to help you figure it out, you shouldn't have to share it, and it shouldn't have to be worn on your sleeve or worn on your chest as a space and place for somebody to judge it. So if that's you, don't judge yourself at all, but find that thing, find the therapist, find the book, find the person who speaks out about this sort of stuff so that you can find the courage to be better yourself and to just know that your circumstances of life are so unfortunate, and I'm so sorry that these things have happened to you, but you're still really beautiful, and I'm sure you have the empathy and just the biggest heart that anyone's ever known. And I want you to explore those things about yourself and never give up on you and never give up on yourself, and find it within you to find peace and to find it within you to heal, so that you don't bring upon another generation of the same circumstance, because that's also another thing that I never want to bring to my kids. I never want to have a generational moment where they're brought back into the same space and place as I was. Like, I want to break that generational curse, and I want them to just flourish and be so supported in life. So I appreciate this space and place that all of you have given me to tell my story, to not judge me, to allow me to open up and say what I want to say and be free to express who I am, and allow me to share my evolvement, my evolution as a woman with everyone. And sometimes I think about how old I am, and I think about what society has said, like what a 33-year-old woman should look like, and she should have kids, and she should have bought a house, and she should have this, and she should have that. But I'm late. I'm not even late. I'm actually really on time. But I'm grateful that life has just slowed everything down and really pressured me to really work on all of this stuff. As hard as it is, I'm grateful for the opportunity to have to really take this, pressure it so much so that I just come out a diamond. And I've never been able to share as much as I've been able to share now, and I've never been able to feel as free as I do now, and I've never been as proud as I've ever been of myself as I am now. And I think I'm just really grateful of life. So yeah, guys, it's been enough. I can't cry anymore. I can't cry. I just appreciate every last one of you for being here with me on this journey. It has been wild, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So I'm gonna continue this storytelling of me. I'm gonna talk about some really deep things, and I'm gonna get into the nitty-gritty of me and my life, and I'm not afraid to just share. So thanks, guys. I'm gonna link all as much as I possibly can. I also want to share my emails that I've emailed to my mother and her response to those emails, and to also just welcome you to share your stories in the comments, and to just be empathetic to people in their lives, and to hear stories like this and just realize that people are always just really trying their best, and that sometimes, and I will say it once and I will say it again, I'm also going to link my podcast as well, but I will say it once and I will say it again, there are so many moments in life where you did not ask for things to happen to you. They just happened to you, and you had to just learn how to deal. Don't judge how you learn how to deal. Accept it, you know? For me, that was anxiety. But just know that you don't have to judge that aspect of yourself. You can just go to the work and be better. All right? Guys, I appreciate you. I'm gonna go and just be a woman in my lovely skirt. I'm in a moment of my life where things are not really where they're supposed to be. Like, where things are just chaos in some moments of my life. But I have my voice and I'm using it. And that is the best gift that life has ever given me. So I will see you guys